The day my husband died, my mother-in-law Gloria brought lasagna to my restaurant, not to comfort me, but to make a point. This, she announced, setting the dish on my pristine stainless steel prep counter, is how real Italian food should taste, not that modern nonsense you serve. I stared at the casserole dish, still numb from Mark's funeral that morning. The restaurant's closed today, Gloria. Which is exactly why I'm here. She smoothed her black dress, ever the picture of proper mourning. We need to discuss the future of Bella Luna. My restaurant, the one I'd built from nothing over the past 5 years, the one that had just earned its first Michelin star 3 months ago. There's nothing to discuss. I turned away, starting to clean equipment that was already spotless. Mark left everything to me. Ah, but that's where you're wrong, dear. The false sympathy in her voice set my teeth on edge. Mark may have left you his share of the restaurant, but you seem to have forgotten about the family's involvement. I hadn't forgotten. How could I? Gloria and her husband Antonio had loaned us $50,000 to help start the restaurant, a loan we'd paid back within 2 years, though they'd never let us forget their generosity. The loan was repaid, I said, still not facing her, with interest. This isn't about money, Julia. She clicked her way around the counter in her expensive heels. This is about legacy, about family. Bella Luna was always meant to be a Romano family restaurant. Now I did turn, meeting her perfectly made-up face with my tear-stained one. I am a Romano. I was Mark's wife. Was being the operative word. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Now you're just the woman who couldn't give my son children. The outsider who changed all our traditional recipes. The one who turned her back on generations of Romano family cooking to chase after fancy reviews and magazine articles. Each word hit like a physical blow. 5 years of snide comments about my modern take on Italian cuisine. 5 years of hints about my selfish focus on my career instead of starting a family. 5 years of being reminded that I wasn't really a Romano, just someone who'd married into the family. Get out, I whispered. Oh, I'm going. She pulled an envelope from her designer purse. But first, you might want to read this. My lawyer drew it up. I took the envelope with shaking hands, pulling out a thick document. You see, Gloria continued, when you and Mark first opened Bella Luna, Antonio and I had our lawyer add some provisions to the loan agreement, specifically about maintaining the restaurant's traditional family character. What are you talking about? Section 12, paragraph 3. She leaned over, manicured nail tapping the page. In the event of any partner's death or incapacity, the Romano family reserves the right to review and approve any significant changes to the restaurant's operation or menu. That's ridiculous. We paid back the loan. That agreement is void. Is it? Her smile widened. Check the fine print, dear. The provisions remain in effect for 20 years, regardless of loan repayment. And guess who gets to decide what constitutes a significant change? I felt the blood drain from my face as I read further. She was right. The clause was there, buried in legal jargon I'd been too excited to read carefully 5 years ago, too trusting of my new family. So here's what's going to happen, Gloria said, picking up her purse. You're going to step down as head chef. We'll bring in someone who understands proper Italian cooking, someone who respects tradition. You can keep your ownership stake, we're not monsters, but you'll have no say in the day-to-day operations. And if I refuse? Then we'll sue. We'll tie you up in court until you can't afford to keep the doors open. How long do you think your fancy restaurant can survive a legal battle, especially with all the negative publicity about how you're dishonoring my poor son's memory? I gripped the counter to keep from falling. 1 week. Mark had been dead 1 week, and already his mother was trying to take everything I'd built. Why? I managed to ask. Why now? Because my son is gone, she said simply, and without him, you're nothing to us, just the woman who took our family recipes and twisted them into something unrecognizable, the one who convinced Mark to turn his back on tradition. She headed for the door, then paused. Oh, and Julia? That lasagna recipe? It was Mark's grandmother's. The one you refused to put on your menu because it wasn't innovative enough. Something to think about. After she left, I sank to the floor, the legal papers scattered around me. Through my tears, I could see the framed review on the wall, the one that had earned us our Michelin star, the one that had praised my brilliant reimagining of classic Italian cuisine. Mark had been so proud of that review, had defended my vision to his family time and time again, and now? My phone buzzed with a text. I almost ignored it. But the name caught my eye, Marco Romano. Marco, Mark's cousin, the black sheep of the family who'd gone to California to become a tech entrepreneur instead of joining the family restaurant business, the one who'd actually encouraged my modern take on Italian food. Heard what mom is trying to pull. The message read, "Don't sign anything, I have an idea." I stared at the phone, remembering conversations Mark and I had had about his cousin, about Marco's successful tech company, about his interest in expanding into the restaurant business, about his particular hatred for his Aunt Gloria's attempts to control the whole family through guilt and tradition. Slowly, I stood up, gathering the scattered papers. Gloria thought she had me cornered, thought that without Mark, I was powerless. But she'd forgotten something important. I wasn't just Mark's widow. I was a chef who'd earned a Michelin star, a businesswoman who'd turned a small family restaurant into one of the city's hottest dining spots. And now, thanks to her, I had nothing left to lose. I picked up my phone and texted Marco back, "I'm listening." Gloria wanted a war over family tradition? Fine, but she was about to learn that sometimes the best revenge comes with a modern twist. Marco's idea was better than I could have imagined. Tech companies need good food, he explained over video chat, his California tan glowing through the screen. And my employees are tired of salad bars and sushi. They want authentic Italian food, but with a modern twist. Like what I do at Bella Luna, I said slowly. Exactly. His grin reminded me so much of Mark it hurt. How would you like to expand to Silicon Valley? 2 weeks later, I was in San Francisco, touring sleek corporate campuses and high-end restaurant spaces. Marco introduced me to investors, restaurant groups, and most importantly, his lawyers. The loan agreement is problematic, Marco's legal team admitted, but not insurmountable, especially given what we found in the Romano family trust. What do you mean? I asked. Marco's smile turned wicked. Let's just say Aunt Gloria isn't the only one who knows how to dig up old documents. When I returned home, Gloria was waiting at the restaurant. Ready to be reasonable? She asked, settling into a booth like she owned the place. I have the new chef starting next week. Traditional recipes only, of course. Actually, I said, setting a folder on the table, I have a counterproposal. She barely glanced at it. Julia, dear, we've been through this. The agreement is ironclad. You mean the agreement that requires Romano family approval for any changes? I opened the folder. I have that approval. Now she did look, her perfectly plucked eyebrows drawing together as she read. What is this? Documentation showing that Marco Romano owns 20% of the Romano family trust. The same trust that you and Antonio used to secure the original loan. The color drained from her face. Marco? That ungrateful boy who abandoned his heritage for computers? That ungrateful boy just became my business partner. I sat down across from her. He's investing $10 million to expand Bella Luna into a restaurant group, starting with 3 locations in Silicon Valley. You can't. Can't what? Can't expand without family approval? I pulled out another document. Marco is family, and he fully approves of my modern interpretation of Romano family cuisine. Antonio will never allow this. Actually, a deep voice said from the doorway, I think it's brilliant. We both turned to see Antonio Romano himself walking into the restaurant. My father-in-law looked older than I remembered, grief etching new lines around his eyes. Papa, Gloria stood up. You can't be serious. Why not? He settled his bulk into the booth beside me. Julia has brought honor to our family name, a Michelin star. Gloria, do you know how many Italian restaurants in this city have one? None, except Bella Luna. But the traditions are alive and well. I cut in. Come see for yourself. I led them to the kitchen, where my staff was preparing for dinner service. On one counter sat Gloria's lasagna dish from 2 weeks ago. I had our sous chef reverse engineer your recipe, I explained. It took some time, but we figured it out. Then we did this. I lifted the lid on a nearby warming tray, revealing small, elegant portions of lasagna, but instead of traditional layers, each one was a delicate tower, constructed with handmade pasta and the same flavors as Gloria's recipe, but presented in a way that made them look like modern art. We're calling it Nana's Legacy, I said softly. It's going on the menu next week. Traditional flavors, modern presentation, the best of both worlds. Antonio picked up one of the portions, examining it carefully, then he popped it in his mouth, his eyes closed as he chewed. Mama's recipe, he whispered, but different, better, even. Impossible. Gloria reached for one herself. I watched as she tasted it, saw the moment her certainty wavered. This is what I've been trying to tell you, I said. I never wanted to destroy Romano family traditions. I wanted to honor them by helping them evolve, by showing people that Italian cuisine can be both traditional and innovative. The Silicon Valley expansion. Marco called from the doorway where he'd appeared unnoticed. will feature a mix of traditional and modern dishes. Every menu will have a family classics section, showcasing recipes from the Romano archives, presented in new ways, but keeping the original flavors intact. Gloria sank into a nearby chair. But the agreement is satisfied, Antonio said firmly. Julia has Romano family approval, both Marco's and mine. The traditions are being preserved. Just, what was the word you used, Julia? Evolved, I supplied. See, evolved. He turned to his wife. Gloria, basta, enough. Our son chose well when he married Julia. She understands something we forgot, that traditions only survive if they grow. Mark used to say that, I said quietly. He said Romano family traditions weren't just about recipes, they were about bringing people together, making them feel welcome, sharing our love through food. Gloria was silent for a long moment, looking around the kitchen, at the staff preparing both traditional and modern dishes, at Marco lounging in the doorway, at her husband stealing another taste of the reimagined lasagna. The sauce, she finally said, in the lasagna, you added something. A touch of aged balsamic, I admitted. It enhances the flavors your mother-in-law created, makes them brighter, more complex, but the core recipe is exactly the same. She nodded slowly. My mother, she used to experiment too, small things, little changes to make dishes her own. I'd forgotten that. Then perhaps, Antonio suggested gently, it's time to remember, to honor all our traditions, including the tradition of innovation. 1 month later, Bella Luna 2.0 opened in San Francisco. Gloria came to the opening, bringing with her a box of old recipe cards, her mother-in-law's original recipes, complete with handwritten notes about variations and experiments. For the family classics section, she said gruffly, but, perhaps we could work together, find ways to evolve them? 6 months after that, we opened our third location. The menu features a special section called Gloria's Innovation, traditional recipes with modern twists, developed by me and my former mother-in-law working side by side in the test kitchen. Marco's tech industry connections have made our restaurants the hottest spots in Silicon Valley. It turns out that even the most forward-thinking entrepreneurs crave a taste of tradition, especially when it's presented in innovative ways. Yesterday, we received news that our San Francisco location has been awarded its own Michelin star. The review specifically praised our ability to bridge the gap between traditional Italian cuisine and modern gastronomy. I found Gloria in the kitchen afterward, trying not to cry as she read the review. They mentioned Nana's legacy, she sniffled, said it was, what were the words? A brilliant reimagining of classic Italian comfort food, proving that respect for tradition and embrace of innovation are not mutually exclusive, I quoted. She nodded, dabbing at her eyes. Mark would have loved this, all of it. He always said you could see the future of food. He also said family was the most important ingredient. I hesitated, then added, all family. Even the ones who sometimes fight over lasagna recipes. Gloria laughed, a real laugh, not her usual society titter. Speaking of recipes, I found another box of Nana's cards, some interesting variations on tiramisu that might work with your molecular gastronomy ideas. Traditional flavors, modern presentation? Evolution, not revolution, she agreed, using what had become our company motto. Later that night, after the dinner service, I found myself alone in the kitchen. The framed Michelin star reviews, now 3 of them, hung on the wall, beside a black and white photo of Mark's grandmother in her first restaurant kitchen. You were right, I whispered to Mark's memory. Food is love, family is everything, and sometimes the best recipes are the ones that bring people together, even when they start out pushing each other away. On the counter, next to my modern kitchen equipment, sat Gloria's old lasagna pan. Inside was a new experiment we'd worked on together, a fusion of her mother-in-law's recipe and my modern techniques. Tomorrow, we'd serve it to our regular customers. This dish born of conflict and reconciliation. Some would love it, some might prefer the original, but all would taste what we'd put into it. The perfect blend of tradition and innovation, seasoned with forgiveness and garnished with love. Just like Mark would have wanted.